What's going on, people? Welcome to the opposition preview. I'm D, and as always, I'm now joined by Matchday Vlogs for the opposition preview of our game on Wednesday night against Southampton. As always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Mike, thanks for joining me. As a Palace fan, I am happy. I'm over the moon over the result. But I've had a rough day and two as well. I've just been caught up with just a massive headache, aches all over my body. So I'm recovering from that. But you guys are recovering from a 3-0 defeat against Arsenal on the weekend as well. But
Yes,
before we talk about the Arsenal game in particular, you're sitting 16th in the Premier League so far this season, and you've got 16 points. How would you sum up your season so far? As a neutral looking in, it does seem a bit I don't know, mediocre. Is that the right word to use? But, it's just been there and about.
Yeah, I think that's fair, to be honest with you. I mean, in terms of our expectations going into the season, I mean, the end of our last campaign was pretty dreadful. So it was really a case of, stability and, not conceding so many goals. I mean, in the calendar year so far, we've conceded 50 away goals. And we've dropped a lot of points from winning positions, which have cost us. The improvements that have come this season are the fact that we've tightened up at the back and we're not conceding as many goals, although it doesn't appear that way over recent results. But there have been some improvements, but it's been very, mediocre would be a fair word to say. But we've had those sort of results where, we drop points from winning positions in the last 3 games before the Arsenal fixture that could have seen us with, effectively 7 extra points, which would make the table look a whole lot different. Yeah. And especially with that sort of crowded proximity with the positions that both our clubs find ourselves in, a win can sort of catapult you towards the top half and a loss sort of in the other direction. So, yeah, but expected, but yeah, mediocre's fair.
Look, so we had similar situations, and funny enough, I remember the game against Brighton where you lot faced them. It's just the last second goal that is very frustrating. We had the same moment against them as well, and Mope giving it to us after the game, or after that, basically the game finished at that moment, and then they're just all getting excited. And it all counts, to be fair. You can have good 90-minute performance, but that one moment can let you down. But talking about your expectations, you did mention about last season being a bit of a struggle. And I remember talking to a Saints fan last season, and I think going into the season, you were the most optimistic fan base.
Right.
And there was lots of hopes about, you guys can finish out. And you started the season off well as well. Just in general, because you've been in the Premier League for a while as well now, what are your expectations this season? Like, what do you realistically expect to go and achieve?
Stay in the Premier League. It sounds utterly brutal to say that, but after the last season's campaign, it was pretty dreadful. And had we not had such a fantastic start and been top of the league in November last year, we would have been in serious trouble. So I think any Southampton fan sort of talking about Europe at the beginning of this campaign would be in la la land, quite frankly. But we just need to get stability in the squad. We lost a major player. He went to Aston Villa. And everyone was talking about, well, if they haven't got the strike power up front, then they'll be struggling, and that's fair. We've replaced. We use those funds quite wisely, in my opinion. We've got some great additions. Tino Livramento's come in at right back, and he looks absolutely fantastic. Adam Armstrong's sort of yet to get fully firing, but he has still scored a couple of goals, which, when you buy players from the championships, quite often you can be waiting quite a long time to see those come to fruition in the Premier League. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Danny Ings one was, I don't know if it was well, to be fair, it was kept a bit under the radar at times, and they popped up. So I guess it was a bit of a surprise. But you've got some quality replacements in. But before we talk about them replacements, just quickly, in your last game against Arsenal, I mentioned at the start of the show, 3-0 defeat against them away from home. What exactly went wrong in that game? I watched the highlights, and it did seem like Arsenal played some good football. But was it more of the same problems in front of goal, maybe missing chances on,
Yeah, I mean, weirdly enough, for a game that you lose 3-0, you don't expect to come out of a game like that having more shots on target than your opposition. But weirdly enough, we did. And it's really that sort of quality up front. I mean, we had lots of shots on target, but really without any kind of clear venom. And so we're creating chances, which is the encouraging thing. We're just not putting them away. But for me, we started that game quite well. But we were just sort of cut open by very high quality counter attacking football by Arsenal, and then we were just sort of left short by Bednarek being out of position, and they score an easy goal. The second goal they scored shortly after was a similar kind of picture, defensive misgivings, and you're 2-0 down before half time. We've sort of thrown the game away, and then heads drop in the second half, and it doesn't look like they can be bothered to do anything. So it was pretty disappointing by full time, but it's a Southampton story this season. We just go to sleep in the second half. It's a real concern of ours.
So, talking about the weaknesses going into this game, is the second half the weakness of Southampton? Is that it? Just wait until the second half.
We'll just play 45 on Wednesday.
Is that just play 45? Oh, is there anything else like on the pitch? Maybe defensive record, midfield, attack. Like, what would you say that works for Palace? Interesting enough, even though after the game I was just laying in bed, I just managed to put up. I just pulled up Twitter and I just saw stats saying, in terms of long ball accuracy, Southampton is the worst in the Premier League. I think it's only 33%. Are you good under pressure?
We're not. In terms of sort of getting caught out by the counter, because we play sort of quite high pressing football, and effectively we find ourselves out of position quite quickly when things go wrong. And, that's when things do go wrong. I mean, like Arsenal's first goal, effectively you had James Ward-Prowse running down the wing, tracking back as a defender, which left Bednarek confused as to where he should be, and then suddenly got big open holes for opposition to score. But the weaknesses we really have is in the middle of the park, I think. It's difficult because the last game we had two major players out suspended, Oro Romeo and Mohamed Salisu, who will be back in contention for Wednesday's next game, which will be a big plus for us, and it should hopefully just firm things up and sort of bring things together. But the other centre-back position is in question. Will it be Jack Stevens? Will it be Lianco? Will it be Jan Bednarek? So it's we don't have this is our 11 as a few games ago we kind of did before players started getting injured. But that's the same story for a lot of clubs out there. And of course we don't have a goalkeeper. We've got Willy Caballero, who's come in on an emergency loan deal until the 5th of January. So and he had a bit of a mixed game on Saturday. It was, I can see sort of wanting to be commanding, but ultimately there's a reason why he hasn't been playing Premier League football for a while, I think. So, but it's his first game back, so, I'm not going to judge him too harshly on that.
So basically, take shots wherever and you're going. That's what you're telling us. Just shoot. Whenever you get an opportunity, just shoot.
It'll be from set pieces. It'll be from set pieces because that's where
set pieces. That's our main weakness, to be fair. Are you guys good at set pieces?
Yeah. Actually, no, we have sort of created quite a few chances. So, yeah.
Because honestly, we've improved, but I think half of the goals, I actually haven't got a percentage, but near enough, half of the goals we've conceded so far this season have come from set pieces. Really? It's been that poor. But we have improved over the last two weeks or so. Yeah. We look a bit more comfortable, but other than that, it was just a shot. Like, it's like every time there was a set piece, we're just praying on our knees to not concede. And every time our prayers will not get answered because they'll score from it. So set pieces have been a massive struggle for us. But you did mention a couple of players coming back for our game on Wednesday night. But you mentioned also likes of Livramento, and you've got some other quality players in the side. So far this season, who has stood out for you the most, and who should we look out for?
In terms of who you should look out for, I mean, Tino Livramento has been absolutely fantastic. His last two games, he's not been particularly amazing, but he's still been very, very good. And it's really the fact that he was so amazing beforehand that we're kind of judging him quite harshly on that front. So he's been very, very good. Broja, who's our lone striker from Chelsea, if he's fit enough to play, it's a 50-50. I'd look out for him. But also the likes of Nathan Redmond, I think has had a great season so far. A bit gone under the radar, but he's pretty much been involved in every single goal we've scored so far. So certainly looking, at his whereabouts, and if he's playing in an attacking midfield role, then he'd certainly be one to look out for. And in terms of other threats, depending on who's out on the pitch at the time, Salasu is a fantastic defender. I mean, he kind of has an aura to him that reminds me of the VVD days. So he certainly looks like a formidable force, and actually he's the player that's got the most pass completions stats. So in terms of the long ball, I think he's the only one making them by the sounds of it. So
and he'll be back for the Palace game. Surprise, surprise. That's our luck. That is our luck, our Palace. Even with the Villa game, for example, we was about to face Villa under Dean Smith, and then Steven Gerrard comes in. It's just every time United away from home, Ralph Ragnick comes in. Now we're facing you guys. One of your better defenders comes in. It's just life of a Palace fan, to be fair. But finally, Mike, score predictions. I know you'll probably have to back your boys, but how do you see it going?
I do have to back my boys, and I thank you for giving me that grace of being an audaciously ambitious football fan. I think we're going to concede. I have to be honest, and I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to the Saints. So, yeah.
2-1. All right, I'm going to go I said 2-1 against Everton. It ended up being 3-1. Better. For this game, due to the momentum that we got from the Everton game and the fact that we've had a bit of time to work, we actually look like a half-decent football side after struggling at times in the last couple of weeks due to the amount of games and injuries. I guess Everton seemed like the old Palace that we've seen earlier on in the season. So if we play like that, like we did yesterday against Everton, I'm confident in our sides. I have to back my boys as well. So I'm going to go for another 2-1. And, it's at Selhurst Wednesday night. So I think it'll be a good game. The interesting thing is, of course, if you bring in a couple more players, that'll be key. And also whether there'll be any COVID stuff going on, because you never know nowadays. One day it's great, the next day the whole football club is shut down. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. With the result 2-1. Mike's backing his boys as well. But as always, we want to hear from you. So let us know in the comment section down below what you guys think how the result will go, and also your general thoughts ahead of the game. Mike, before you go, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find us on all the social media channels under Matchday Vlogs, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. We're all there under Matchday Vlogs. So come and check out our stuff.
Yeah, make sure to go and check out Mike's content. As always, Southampton fan. I've actually seen your stuff on TikTok as well. That's how I found you. So if you got TikTok, go on TikTok, check out Matchday Vlogs as well. And also, I enjoy the actual perspective that you have on the game as well. So make sure to check out Mike's content. And that's it from today. From us. As you guys can tell, I'm 50% there, 50% not. I'm struggling, but I managed to get through with this episode. Speak to you guys soon, and until next time, up the Palace.